Back into the Show You Colors event here live on location in Strand Park, right outside of JR Sports Bar and Grill. We encourage you to come out and support this wonderful event the Alexander City Chamber has put on for us. And again, this has been over 60 events in a week-long period, and we couldn't be more excited about it. It could be 80, but I think it's 60 events on there, just making sure on that. But we've had a great show here so far. We had the opportunity to talk to the coaches from the Central Clay team, as well as some of their players, introduce the Benjamin Russell cheerleading squad to the community. And now what we'll do is bring in Coach Franklin, the head coach here for the Horseshoe Bend Generals, and a few of his players here, a couple of his players rather. So, Coach, thanks for joining us today.
Thank y'all for having us tonight.
Yeah, so again, this is kind of when all the preparations and what things have been going on from the spring all the way through the weight program through the summer. This is when it starts to really get things prepared, and you're starting to prepare for week one. So can you just revisit a little bit of what went on through the spring and how the summer has been going so far?
Well, we had a great spring. We played a team that's coming into our region, Fayetteville, the Fayetteville Wolves, in our spring game and come out victorious. But you know, it's spring, and you just want to take the positives from the spring game and see what you can build off, and you know, kind of look at your weaknesses and see if you can improve those over the summertime in the weight room and now your position work and on the field time that you get in the summertime. So you're trying to really you know, fix those problem areas and improve on your strengths as you go through the summer and coming into the first day of practice on Monday.
And you bring up the word strengths, and from the spring now and kind of from what you know from last season, what would you say some of the strengths are heading into the fall?
Well, we're much further ahead in our skill position area this year. I think that's going to be our strong point, is our skill players. Our running back area should be a strength, and our receiver area should be a strength. Plus, with our quarterback coming back, and again this year being able to return a starter there that got a lot of game experience last year and a lot of reps, that's a positive. Anytime you don't have to replace a guy that, you know, is making the calls for your offense is a big deal.
Yeah, and again, that's something that, regardless of the attention that a program may be getting, when you're able to bring back a returning player, especially in that position, I think that only bodes well for the success of the team. And when you speak of the success of the team, there have been some lumps there, but if you really have followed the program, especially since you've been here, the win-loss record doesn't necessarily indicate the progress that has been made and the type of team that you do have. And so I at least from my perspective, I do want to relay that this is one of the most hard-working teams that you'll find. The scores and the record doesn't necessarily indicate that all the time.
You know, last year our record didn't turn out the way we wanted it, but we were in a lot of football games. You know, one play here, there, a few games, and that's something we've worked on this year, is finishing and making sure that those things don't haunt us this year. The little things of, you know, drop punts, costly penalties at certain time periods, you know, drop passes. I mean, it's a number of things, a blown coverage here or there, you know, and things could be so much different last year. But, you know, it is what it is. That's why you play the game. That's why you turn the lights on Friday nights, and that's why, you know, both teams put in the work during the week. And sometimes that funny-shaped ball bounces your way, and sometimes it doesn't. And, you know, what we tell our guys is you got to get up and you got to refocus, and you got to get at the task at hand and go back out there and get after it, you know. And sooner or later, those breaks will come your way, you know. Not every year do they come your way, but the next year could be your year for them to fall your way. I'm proud of where we've taken the program. You know, we've done, you know, tremendous upgrades there. We've won some ball games over the year. You know, we improved from where I took over the previous 5 years. People don't remember back that far, but they had won 5 games in the 5 previous years before me taking over. And you know, we hadn't been consistent win total every year, but we have to rebuild at a small school and every year, and that's a little bit more difficult than you see at your 6 and 7A schools where they can just reload. They don't have to rebuild. You know, if we lose a big senior class, it may take us 2 or 3 years to regroup that again and get that kind of talent back again. So, you know, small schools come in cycles. People don't always realize that, but, you know, 2A school where we're dressing about 37, 38 kids, if you have a class that's got 10 or 12 guys in there, it takes a few years to get that back, and especially if you've got a real dominant player, you know, like we did a few years ago in Corey Battle. You know, he was a tremendous athlete for us, and it takes another few years to get one. And I think we've got one sitting up here with us tonight that has a chance to be, one of the best to ever put on a Horseshoe Bend jersey for us.
Well, that'll be a good transition for us. Why don't you guys give an opportunity to introduce yourself right here?
I'm Drew Hill.
I'm Brandon Hurd.
All right, and Drew, again, you're somebody who has been a part of the Horseshoe Bend program for a while, and so now we're just talking about the success of the program and not necessarily weighing in on wins and losses, but the progress that you guys have been making. So from a player standpoint, how do you guys address that and hopefully be able to make the adjustments to get you guys over the hump to really start winning on a consistent level?
Well, Coach Franklin is the best football coach I've ever been coached by, and he pushes me to my limits every day. And he pushes all of us to our limits, and he just makes sure that everything is in line and every play is perfect. And every play is perfect, then we gain yards, we gain touchdowns, we gain wins.
Yeah, and
he's very consistent about keeping us in line.
And that's a key word there, the consistency there. But you're, again, coming back, as a returning starter, there's already a leadership quality about you at that point. But at the position you play in particular, do you feel any added pressure or feel that there's anything you need to do specifically to ensure that you guys are successful?
Well, I've been working a lot on my conditioning and trying to stay in shape. And I've been working a lot on my blocking for my receivers when I get out in the flats for them. And I'm just working hard every day in the weight room and sprinting and all the conditioning work. Everything's been there, and the leadership role has been there since I was in 9th grade. It's just something I like to do and I like to take, and I just take it and go.
Yeah, and again, before we shift over a little bit, can you talk a little bit about the general pride? And so even though no matter who you speak to throughout the week, when you're speaking to people within the community, they're always excited to talk to you about football, and that applies to the Lake Martin area as a whole. But in particular, when you're talking to people from Newside and the surrounding area, they talk about how they're going to be there on Friday to support their team. So can you talk a little bit about the support the community has showed through these times?
Oh, yes, sir. Our support is crazy. We have countless number of fans always packed out at home, and even crazy far away game, just every fan just shows up and yells their heart out and just is always there for us. And they're always just cheering on no matter what, win or loss. They always have our backs, and they're always just there to get us through the next day.
Gotcha. So we'll transition over again, and we'll ask you the same thing. Kind of what are your expectations for this year's season coming back? Hopefully a building block from last year, and then the things you guys have been putting in through the spring and the summer program. What are your expectations for this fall?
Yes, sir. I'm looking forward to win more games this year. We're working a little bit more harder this year. We got some more guys that's going to come out and play their heart out. We got Coach Franklin. He's pushing us harder than last year. He's wanting us to win more games. We got to come together as a team and not be individuals. We got to just build up together and be a team.
And that does sound like something that a coach would try to instill into his team. And so, again, coming back, when you talk about getting some more players out, is that sometimes troubling when you maybe don't have the players out that should be playing, and so now you have some guys that maybe haven't played before, and now you have the opportunity to maximize the roster?
Is there?
Yeah, so again, just talk a little bit more about the spring and the summer and how that's been for you as a player, how you guys did in the spring, and how the summer workout program has been going.
Well, our spring game went great. We got to do a little bit better on our blocking and stuff. We got to learn our plays a little bit more better. We had some bangs in here there. I mean, we got to be able to tackle more. We got to know our positions and stuff, like our angles, how we need to get there.
I got you. All right. Well, we're really excited about it. And every week I looked at the scores, and again, it's obviously everybody wants to win games. I don't want to play it to that way, but when you're looking at it and you're seeing the scores and you read and you actually see how the game played out, and it may be a 14-point loss, but don't necessarily know that maybe you were up 6 points going into the fourth quarter and something happened. So I just hope people in the viewing area understand that this team can't be equated to their win-loss record. And if they continue to work, I think you're going to see that continue. And I've seen the stats that can be put up. And Coach, too, I just want to ask you this. I know there's been a shift in some areas from who's in the area and who's not from a football standpoint and around all sports. But who are some teams that maybe weren't in the area last year that have been added to the schedule now?
Yeah, we lost Randolph County. They were a semifinal team last year in 2A, and they moved up to 3A. And we were in a 7-team region last year, so we're going into an 8-team region, and we picked up Vincent, and Fayetteville, which will come over into our region to make it an 8-team region now. So that, it's good and bad in a sense. Last year, the last 2 years previous, it was bad because it was tough to pick up a game in that open week we had when you played a fall jamboree. And being our first time going through it, it was kind of a learning curve for all coaches. And we kind of fell in there. We had to pick up for Elmore County. So, that was a tough pickup. And, but it is what it is. You learn, new system for most coaches. And we kind of had to fill it out and learn. But it really helped coming back into an 8-team region. Made it scheduling so much tremendously more easy for coaches to do when you only have to pick up 3 games. You only have to schedule. And the Wadley game, it's a given. You don't have to worry about that one. So just being able as a coach to only have to worry about scheduling 2 games made things so much easier this year. Overall, I like the region, the way it sets up. We got some tough competition. Region 5 is a juggernaut. I mean, it's tough in that region. You're going to have perennial quarterfinal, semifinal teams, even teams playing in the state championship every year. So, every week you got to strap it up in that region and be ready to play and bring your A game every week.
Yes, sir. Well, Coach, we appreciate you coming up here to our somewhat of a media day. That's what we've tried to turn it into now, and we really appreciate you guys coming up, and good luck to you guys this fall, and look forward to seeing all the things you guys are able to accomplish. We'll go ahead and take another break. When we return, we'll have more of the Show Your Colors event here live in Strand Park as a part of the Sun Festival event hosted by the Alex City Chamber.